Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horses.
Bang! Hot dog!
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Oh, once I loved an outlaw. He came and stole my heart. Oh, how I count the hours since we were torn apart. On the road to Fairfax County, I spied a highwayman. He wanted all my money. My heart beat like a drum. I gave him all my money, and sweet he smiled at me. His beauty I took pity beneath the black oak tree. We kissed, but for an hour. The sun was newly warm. The clouds were as the flowers that bloom but for a morn. He gave back all my money and bowed most gallantly. He promised for to meet me that night beneath the tree. We'd flee to some far island, and there we would be wed. And freely we would live there, with no price upon his head. That night I went to meet him with my inheritance. He kissed me neath the half moon, and joyful we did dance. Oh, love betrays all secrets, it whispers in the breeze. The sheriff he did follow with all his deputies, like hounds rushing to slaughter the fox whose luck is run. And he stood erect and cursed them, God damn you everyone. They seized him in a fury, and heeding not my plea, they hung him from the oak tree where he made love to me. Oh, once I loved an outlaw. He came and stole my heart. Oh, how I count the hours since we were torn apart.
All right.
Well, thank you,
A
Ralph.
beautiful song.
Thanks.
My name is Ralph Litwin. We're here on Horses Sing None of It, and you've been listening to the music of David Massengill. Nice to have you on the show.
Well, it's good to be here.
David is from Bristol, Tennessee, has had songs recorded by the Roaches, Joan Baez, and has a new album coming out, we hope probably by the time this is aired.
If it's in October, late October, then that's so.
And after that, it'll already be out in your stores. Go look for it. And the label again is?
It's called Plump Records.
Plump.
Yes, it's nice.
Just think this.
Makes
Plump.
people feel good. It's got a tomato as a logo. It's very nice.
And the title of the album?
The album is called The Return.
The Return.
Yes.
Very nice. Well, we'll be looking for that.
Yeah.
You're playing an interesting looking instrument here.
Well, I'm lucky to have this particular dulcimer. This is called the mountain dulcimer. And they made these up a few hundred years ago when the first settlers were going into the Appalachian Mountains. They wanted something to sing, and they didn't have room in their wagons for anything like organs or pianos or even fiddles. And so when they got to the mountains, they just sort of made this up. And it got to be, actually the preachers put it out that the dulcimer was the voice of the devil because it was sweet and luring. And so they banned it from the church, and and so that's why I like to call the dulcimer the first rock and roll instrument, because it was dangerous in its time. Now they think of it as a very, folky, whatever instrument. But in its day, it was pretty wild.
Revolutionary.
Yes, that's right. And this particular dulcimer is made by a man named Edsel Martin, and he's a wonderful whittler out of North Carolina. His dulcimers are in the Smithsonian, and also his whittlings. He's a mountain man, lives in Old Fort. And there's a lot of funny stories about him. Edsel he's an old-fashioned mountain man, and he and Mrs. Hollingsworth used to have all these little feuds. Mrs. Hollingsworth worked at a craft store, and she told me this story. He came in one day, and she had cut her hair short for the summer. And, well, he didn't like that because he's a mountain man. He thought women should have their hair long the traditional way. So he gave her some business about it. But of course, she didn't let it bother. She just let it go. Well, he came back in 2 months, 2 weeks later, with a new batch of dulcimers. Of course, all his dulcimers have a carving on them. Sometimes he does birds and flowers and hound dogs. Well, this is a woman, and he had a woman on it, and she, instead of having long hair, as he usually does, she had real short hair, just like Mrs. Hollingsworth. So that was his little way of making up to her. So if that had happened today, instead of 30 years ago, they'd say Edsel was a sensitive, new age mountain man. But he just did it in the old days, And, he's also, his dulcimers are very long, and so they have a nice, beautiful kind of sound. A lot of dulcimers look sort of nice, but they have a tinny sort of sound to them that I don't particularly like.
It's got very full.
But this was this is an instrument. And so my mom picked this out. She actually ordered it she went into a store and said she wanted the best dulcimer for her children. And they said, well, we've got some good ones, but they say Edsel Martin makes the best. We'd have to special order one. And my mom said, do so. And so they brought over 3 or 4 of them, and my mom picked this one out because she liked the woman singing. It looks like a woman singing it. She could be yelling. Or as somebody told me the other day in reference to my singing, she could be yawning. So that's that. But I'm awful glad I've got this, and it's nice for me to be able to sing and look at her like that. I just got down there with Edsel and got him to make me another dulcimer, and it's another woman, and she's faced the other way. He told me they're sisters 30 years apart. That's what he said. And also, this is an hourglass figure. The new one is a teardrop shaped with only 2 sound holes. This has 4 sound holes. And these has diamonds as the sound holes. The new one has hearts. And Edsel told me, one's for love, one's for money. Edsel's a pretty good guy to get to know. He's always kind of pulling your leg a little bit. And I heard a lot of very funny stories about him. So maybe I'll tell you a couple more before the half hour's over.
All right, we like that.
Yeah. Should I do another song
Yeah,
here?
why don't you give us another one?
Let me do another one. I spent, I guess, 9 years in New York working at a restaurant, part-time. I could always pay my bills. It was great for my bohemian life. Now I'm touring, so I can't pay too much attention to my bohemia stuff. But those were the good old days. Now at that restaurant, all the cooks were from Thailand. All the dessert people were from the islands. The salad people were from El Salvador. And the dishwashers were from Mexico and Tennessee. I don't know how, but we got along awfully well. If you were ever in this restaurant's gone kaput, but for a good 15 years, it was a good restaurant over on 80th Street and Broadway in New York City. It was called, I forget the name of it. Can you believe it? It was one on Monopoly board name. I'll think of it before the night's over. I can't remember something. Oh, that's embarrassing. But anybody that's been in there, it was a good place, and we all got along pretty well. And this is a song that comes from there. There's something that actually happened there, where we stood up for each other. And that's a good thing to do. It's called My Name's Joe.
Very good.
Joe threw another tantrum. He could not be understood. He cries like baby Samson. His English is not good. Oh, his English is not good. Joe's boss of the kitchen, but on the outside he knows low man on the totem is wearing giveaway clothes. Wearing giveaway clothes. Joey fights the good fight. He wears a white uniform. The waiters are all artistes out chasing unicorns. Oh, chasing unicorns. Joe works 14 hours. After 10 he starts to booze. He gets very sentimental. He sings the Buddha blues. Oh, he sings the Buddha blues. My name's Joe, my name is Joe. There is a king in Thailand, and he plays a jazz drum. He has a fine and healthy son. Oh no, I'm not the one. My name's Joe. On the wall by the time clock, Joe is beaming from a photograph. Someone drew across his face. The waiters began to laugh. Oh, began to laugh. Well, Joe picked up a hatchet and he tenderized the wall. When he got through with it, time clock wasn't punching anymore. Time clock wasn't punching anymore. The waiters ran for cover. The maitre d' began to list. The drunkard in the corner said his lettuce was not crisp. Oh, his lettuce was not crisp. Then the owner called immigration. Said, here's someone you should know. He's an illegal alien, and I think his name is Joe. Oh, I know his name is Joe. My name's Joe, my name's Joe. There is a king in Thailand, and he plays a jazz drum. He has a fine and healthy son. Oh, no, I'm not the one. My name Joe. Came that man from immigration. He said, I got a job to do. Easy questions, easy answers. Just point me to the kitchen crew. Point me to the kitchen crew. He asked Leroy from Harlem. He asked Cisco from Mexico. He has a white trash from Tennessee. They all said, my name's Joe. My name's Joe. My name's Joe. My name's Joe. The immigration man, he sputtered. Kitchen crew, they roared. While they were arguing, Joe slipped out the back door. Joe slipped out the back door, slipped out the back door. Down the beach, Joe tries to listen to the heartbeat of a whale, how it echoes his own heartbeat and the distance he has sailed. Oh, the distance he has sailed. My name's Joe, my name's Joe. There is a king in Thailand, and he plays the jazz drums. He has a fine and healthy son. Oh, no, I'm not the one. My name's Joe. My name's Joe. My name's Joe. Well, thank you.
Beautiful song by David Massengill. We're going to take a public service announcement break, and we'll be back with you on Horses Sing None of It, and some more stories and song from David Massengill.
Good afternoon, officer. My license and registration. Cheeseburger? It's hot out today, huh, officer? Maybe my taillight's out.
Shouldn't you be carpooling?
I guess you're right.
I guess I am.
Carpooling can save up to 600,000 gallons of gas a year. This message sponsored by Ad Council and Earthshare.
Howdy, folks. We're here on Horses Sing None of It, but this isn't David Massengill anymore. This is Rick Johnston, the winner of the Horses Sing None of It contest. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ralph.
Rick. Here's your prize, and we'd like to certainly thank you for entering the contest. You're one of the people who records Horses Sing None of It at home, and you're a guidance counselor, I understand you told me.
That's right.
Where are you guidance counselor?
In Dover schools, right here in this town.
Right here in Dover. Well, we'd like to thank you for watching Horses Sing None of It, and got this collection of CDs and tapes that you won, and
Great, thanks,
there you
Ralph.
go. Have anything you want to say to the folks at home?
I would just say tune in Sunday nights. There's a variety of music, country blues, bluegrass, and I'm a faithful follower, and my children as well. And it's a family affair every Sunday night, so we certainly do enjoy it.
Thanks for coming and getting your prize.
Thanks a
And
lot,
thanks for
Ralph. I
watching.
appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, Rick.
Thank you.
And we're going to have David Massengill come back now, and nice to have you here again, David.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Well, as from my first couple songs that I did, you probably think that I'm a ballad writer and singer, and you're exactly right. I love that form. That's a traditional form, and I'm trying to write modern songs. By the way, I have remembered the name of the restaurant I worked at for 9 years.
Okay.
It's Marvin Gardens.
Marvin Gardens, yeah.
And
one of the yellow spaces.
It was a good one, 81st and Broadway, and I miss the people I worked with there a lot. And I still hear from him every now and again. One of the Thai cooks now has a restaurant down in Richmond, Virginia, and he had me come down there and play last summer. It was great. And also one time I did a show with Joan Baez, and she came by afterwards and washed dishes with me just to see what it was like. And all the people in the kitchen got her autograph and took pictures with her and so forth. Somebody went out and bought a camera so they could get pictures made of it, so it was pretty funny. But you know, it's funny how ego works. The next night I came in to work, they said, you know, Johnny Cash is here and he wants to wash dishes with you. And I seriously looked all the way around the restaurant trying to find Johnny Cash. So your ego can be pretty funny sometimes.
They pulled a good one on you, huh?
They did. That was funny. Now I'd like to do a song that's going to be on my new record. This is, I guess, of all the songs I've written, this is probably my personal favorite. When I finished writing it, I said to myself, I'm glad I lived long enough to write that song. And I'd like you to join me a little bit on this with a little harmonic, if you could.
I'd be glad to.
There's a little bit of a history of this. I heard of the orphan train, 10 years ago. Just before the Civil War, there were so many children, orphan children, and children running in gangs, and they didn't know how to place them in families here in the East, so they sent them out west on trains, and the farmers would come and pick and choose the children. And oftentimes this would work awfully well for the children, but sometimes the farmers would use them mostly for their labor. And also brothers and sisters were sometimes separated. But this practice went on for about 75 years.
Wow.
Now, I just received a letter about last year from a fellow that could have been that last generation of orphan trained children from about 1930, I guess. And he wrote to ask if his first name was Massengill, same as mine, and he wanted to know if he had been separated from his brother, and he thought I sounded old on the radio, so he wanted to know if I was his brother.
Wow.
And so that got me thinking about the orphan train again, and so I wrote this song for him. So this is for Don McClanahan. This is called Rider on an Orphan Train. Once I rode an orphan train, and my brother did the same. They split us up in Missouri. James was 5 and I was 3. He got taken by some pair, but for me they did not care. We were brave and did not cry when they made us say goodbye. That was the last I saw of him before some family took me in. But I swore I'd run away and find my brother James someday. I went back when I was grown to see how old the children's home, and I asked for to see my file of when I was an orphan child. It's sad, they say, there's been a flood, fire washed away in Missouri mud. Sometimes life is a stone wall. You either climb or else you fall. In every town, on every street, all the faces And I wonder, could one be my brother James come back to me? Though I don't know where he's gone, I have searched my whole life long. Now I roam from town to town, but there's no orphan lost and found. Sometimes I dream a pleasant sight, my brother James and I unite, remembering our last goodbye. No longer brave, we start to cry. I hope he lives a life of ease, and all his days a soft warm breeze. May he sit upon a throne, and may he never sleep alone. Once I rode an orphan train, and my brother did the same. They split us up in misery. James was 5 and I was 3.
If you're not sure how it would feel to be in a crash going just 30 without a safety belt, maybe this will ring a bell.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Oh, that hurt.
It's only a little motor oil.
What difference is one drop of paint going to make?
This much fertilizer isn't going to pollute anything.
You're looking at a sea of excuses, created drop by people like you and me. Our waters can be saved if each of us does their part. Drop by drop. If we all do a little, we can do a lot. Brought to you by the Natural Resources Defense Council, the EPA, and the Ad Councils of the U.S. and Japan.